Welcome to the Mindful Garden. It's a beautiful night here. Let's start as we always do, giving ourselves 3 deep breaths to center ourselves and bring ourselves into the conversation that we're having, which is just some ramblings for tonight. There we go. Nice and centered, feeling good. Felt pretty good to walk home. A little sore from my walk home, but that's 6 kilometers is pretty fair trek, really, when you think about it. But gives me lots of time to think. And I was thinking about what to say tonight, which is interesting because I'm getting sporadic in my videos, which is not necessarily good because I'm wanting to do it as a regular thing. But one of the things I've been thinking about there's a lot of people that even since I was a kid have always been talking about the rapture and the end of the world, and everything is the sign of the end of the world to them, and it kind of drives me nuts to listen to this conversation at all. It's like, what kind of people want to drive ourselves to an end? Like, why wouldn't we want to perpetuate ourselves and continue on? Why wouldn't we want to see ourselves having a bright future? Right? Why would we see everything as an end? Yes, there are lots of things that are negative at times, and there's lots of struggles, but humanity has faced many struggles over many years and many centuries. We've gone through many changes. It's inevitable that we're going to come up against some challenges in our modern society. Like, we're living very far removed from a reasonable state, and we can't deny it. You can't deny that. Our bodies are full of pollution. Go get tested if you want, but you don't even have to. We have radioactive pollution in us. Everybody born since they started doing nuclear testing in the atmosphere, we all have particles in us apparently from that even, which I hear. And there's many other things that are adding to it, and which leads me to a lot of philosophies, but I won't go into that because philosophizing doesn't necessarily do you any good, but make you think of things that are not necessarily true. Like, conspiracy theories get built that way, basically, and when you look at it, there's something there, but there's definitely not something what a lot of people are saying, because, well, perspective comes from what you witness in reality. So if you witness strange things and you're honest about it, then witness those things. But in my life, I have not witnessed very many very strange occurrences, except for the deja vus and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that happens in my mind that I know because I am well practiced in keeping myself straight, because I suffer from mental illness. And when you suffer from mental illness, you end up learning how to tell the difference between the mental illness and when you're in a normal state, like what psychosis feels like. It takes practice and ending up in the hospital and stuff like that. It's not fun, but it happens. We see these ends coming, and it kind of depresses me, because I see all these people that just they can't as much as I see lots of negative things, like I could go on a complete negative path and tell you all the things that are wrong with what we're doing. There are many things I could point to that are wrong with what we do. There are many ways we are going to kill ourselves. Look at how many people die every day from just neglect and stuff like that. There's many ways we kill ourselves and we do heinous things every day. And I don't like to say I'm separate from that, because I have a responsibility to every action that has happened on this planet, in a way, because I am part of this planet with everyone else, the way I see it. Let's walk down that journey a little bit. Let's get off this end of the world topic a little bit, because like that just bothers me. Why would you want to see an end of something that's always had a beginning? Like, it's always been a transformation. We have never seen in history a true end to anything, except for like the historical apocalypses of the dinosaurs and stuff, but that didn't make an end to anything anyway, because we are here. And the dinosaurs evolved into birds, basically, and they now know that. So, like, everything lives on in its own way. And the Earth is quite the crucible of life, the way she is. And I don't think our actions alone are going to extinguish that crucible. We may extinguish it temporarily and wipe ourselves out, if that's possible. But I don't think we're going to go that far. Like, we could have a collapse. I could definitely see a collapse. But anyway, let's get off that. Let's talk a little bit about Mother Earth. I go for daily, well, not daily, but fairly regular walks out in the countryside and out in nature, and listen to nature, and feel a connection to it. I definitely have always felt a connection to the environment that surrounds me, in a way, and felt like there's an imbalance that we are paying a price for right now. And we can bring a balance back if we start to concentrate on things, both, which this is gonna, like, for some reason, there's something to what we call the spiritual world. And as an atheist, I'm trying to understand that influence on our reality. And I think our science is on the cusp of breaking through that veil a little bit and finding out what's beyond the veil a little bit. Because both, if you look at microscopic imaging, and then you also look at the imaging that we're getting from the universe, you got to see a lot of correlations between that, and it's very interesting and amazing that maybe there's a much more defined flow between things than we know, and we are going to kind of figure out a way to understand that. I think as we develop artificial intelligence and test ourselves up against that, we're going to strengthen our own intelligence in a way. I like this idea that we're going to get lazy. I think the competition between a greater mind and the human mind is going to help develop a better mind. Does this make sense? Wait. Hey, anyway, like, I think AI and the development of artificial intelligence is actually going to test and grow human intelligence as well. And like, we are also having people who are talking about the melding between the two, which is sci-fi and a little bit freaky to a lot of people, which to me is kind of cool. Honestly, uh, I would love to be able to plug in and just download my dreams, for instance. Like, the power of that would be interesting. And to be able to transfer your consciousness to a computer, the potential of that, who knows? Like, there's lots of interesting philosophies that are out there on that front, and the development of technology is an interesting thing. And I don't think a lot of people who want to see the world in a natural state also want to see technology develop, for the most part. For like, it's almost like they become technophobes in a way. But I want to see a mutual development between the two, like a natural state that develops with technology, and technology that develops to understand the natural state. Like, if we can develop AI to counter intuit our actions that we have taken to damage our climate, and make it so that we can just like have it be like, okay, well, this is where you're building a lake, this is where you're building a dam, this is where you're doing this. And just by doing those actions, you create changes in the environment that have a impact that something like a computer model would be able to actually develop and chase the development of that. Like, we're seeing it in the drying out of our lands. As we dry out our lands, we're decreasing our rainfall, and I watch it every day. I walk to work, and I see the farmers all draining their land and making their land drier and drier and drier. And then that makes it so that there isn't a reservoir of water to evaporate during the summer to give us the summer rains. So we don't have the moisture that we used to have. And so we don't have the rainfall that we used to have to support the crops as well as we used to. And if we don't nip this in the bud and fix this problem, it's gonna develop into a bigger problem in future. And Mother Earth has been speaking to me in saying things through like my perception, and that is the best thing I can say, is like, we can use technology to further ourselves, but also at the same time we can understand the natural systems in a new way, which we already are. I would applaud a lot of computer modeling and stuff like that for giving me a lot of insight into things when it comes to how I would approach like sculpting my land to maximize water and stuff like that. And just from understanding climate change and witnessing how things have changed in my lifetime, and seeing the distance changes in snowfall and stuff like that. It's interesting. Like, if you pay attention, like for instance, like when I was a kid, if you go driving at night, you got bugs on your window. Now, if you go driving now, you hardly get bugs on your window. And that's not saying because of the season, but like, there's an actual problem, if you haven't noticed, that we don't have the insect population that we used to. And I have read articles about this, and people aren't really paying attention to it. But if you think about it, that insect population feeds the bird population, feeds the amphibian population, and feeds the fish population, and many other things. Like, we we have a lot of work ahead of ourselves, and I think there are lots of us who know what we're doing, and I have friends that are good beekeepers and stuff and such like that, and they understand the natural environment a lot better than a lot around here. But anyway, I'm rambling a bit. So let's cut her off there. Just ramblings. It's been a night. I wish I could have come up with a better topic, but I have been inconsistent. If anybody liked the reads, that was kind of cool. I suppose I could do more of that. Anyway, you guys have a good night. Let's close out with a prayer. Let's open up hearts and minds. Let's open up the world to the healing that we have to do, both the healing for Mother Earth and the healing for ourselves and the healing for the life that surrounds us. Let's open it up so Mother Earth's heart gets some healing tonight. So in our prayer, as we close out, just imagine a string from your heart to the center of Earth, and then from there it reaches up to the sun and the moon and the stars, and that thread is throbbing and bursting energy through all of the hearts at once. And let's pray to energy flowing through the hearts at once, as if we're all connected, kind of like we are. Have a good night.